Welcome back to another random snorkeling adventure. In today's video, we're going to be snorkeling and exploring a blue freshwater Florida spring. Now, I have been here before, but it's been quite a while. So I'm pretty familiar with the usual suspects of what we might find underwater, but you never truly know until you get under there. So hope you guys enjoy coming along for this random snorkeling adventure, and I will see you out there. It's actually not that cold today. It's like 65 degrees Fahrenheit right now, but it's in November, so it's close enough to wintertime that the springs are a little less crowded than they can be sometimes in the summer. That's good for wildlife and good for filming, so hopefully we'll get some neat underwater activity happening out there. But now it's time to suit up. Okay, so you guys know how hard an open cell wetsuit is to put on because it's never seen one of my videos, and as hard as it looks in the videos, it's way harder because I cut so much of it out because it just takes forever to put on. But today I've got a stopwatch. We're gonna time it. I will still fast forward because it's gonna take forever still, but we're gonna see just exactly how long it takes to put this sucker on. You can call the over under. I'm thinking 2.5 minutes. Nah, I can do faster. I'm thinking 2 minutes, but we'll see. Timer starts now. All right, bottom's on, over the top. Almost there. In time. Oh, where's the stop? Oh, 152. That's pretty close, so not bad. The lube helps. I'm pretty excited. This is not a sponsorship, but I got shark snot lube, which is made from kelp and is completely natural and safe for the environment, so I'm excited about that. But without that lube, 2 minutes would not be possible. You can use water sometimes, that helps, but lube just makes it so much faster. All right, not bad. Classic Florida spring style, the visibility was pretty much perfect, and I could see the entirety of this brilliant blue aquatic world. I kicked off to the spring vent to check out the source itself. There's a small underwater cliff forming a crack in the center of the spring with a gentle sandy slope across from it. It wasn't particularly deep, just about 15 feet. I grabbed a breath and headed down into the bowl. As I reached the bottom, I could feel the push of the current as water flowed up from the system of small cracks and caves below me. This is a second magnitude spring, pumping out between 6.5 to 65 million gallons a day of limestone filtered water up from the Florida aquifer. If you think of this aquatic ecosystem as a living creature, then this is its beating heart. I got photobombed by this squad of sunfish as I swam back to pick up my camera. This one guy seemed particularly mind-blown. As I continued on, a large river cooter emerged from some vegetation above the spring vent. Turtle populations can give insight into the overall health of spring ecosystems, and the turtles here are particularly well studied by researchers. This girl was pretty chill and let me swim alongside her for a bit. Not far off was a juvenile river cooter. I kind of snuck up while it grabbed a breath, but as soon as it clocked me, it jetted off and disappeared along the edge of the spring. Out in the sandy open, I saw another resident turtle species. I've said it many times in many other videos, but a reminder, this is not a baby snapping turtle. It is a young loggerhead musk turtle. This one was only about the size of a tennis ball, but not far away I saw the biggest loggerhead musk turtle I have ever seen. He was only about the size of a big baked potato, but this is a giant individual for this species. Although their bodies aren't that big, their heads are comically large, with big jaws that can absolutely pulverize some snails. This is actually a solid evolutionary strategy for turtles, and is called megacephaly. Basically, big head do big crunch. As I continued exploring, I saw more of these guys darting off into the vegetation. But as this particular turtle took off, I was distracted by these sweet aquatic plants. As I got low with my camera, I saw that they formed a tiny forest that looked like yet another creation of Dr. Seuss. This is pennywort, also known as dollarweed. This native plant can grow in both aquatic and terrestrial environments, as long as the soil is well saturated. As you can clearly see here, it grows in a line by a rhizome, which is a single root that extends horizontally just beneath the surface. This one got a little carried away and was headed in a wacky direction, but it does give you the idea. Pennywort always forms a single round leaf on the end of individual long stalks, and to be honest, I think they would make the perfect umbrella for a Lego minifigure. It's a very cool plant, but I had to regain focus back to the loggerhead musk turtles. I zoomed over the top of the tiny Seussian forest until I spotted yet another turtle. He eventually sprinted through the pennywort to the edge of the spring, which was totally full of holes. As I made my way around the edge, I was kind of shocked to see this bank that looked like Swiss cheese. There were tiny little cliff caves everywhere, and sure enough, the musk turtles were going in and out of them like clockwork. As I drifted along, I saw their cute little butts disappearing into the dark cavities. It was like a giant turtle hotel. Sometimes they even shared rooms with friends. Unfortunately, I was not invited inside as I am ginormous, but I imagine the rooms are decorated very nicely. Gotta say, it's a heck of a place to be a loggerhead musk turtle. I kept making my way around the spring, but now my eyeballs were fully focused on the plants. Although the center of the spring was fairly empty, the edges were alive with unique vegetation. In one area, the roots of the trees along the shoreline feathered out into the spring, creating an eerily beautiful wall. Some of the roots were green, indicating they actually engaged in photosynthesis in addition to transporting water nutrients up to the plant. Which, makes sense with how clear the water is. But then I came to an area that was marked off limits by a line of rope and some buoys. Above the surface was a sign that said the area was closed for restoration. Dipping my camera beneath the surface, I could immediately see why, as directly beneath the sign was a booming field of native red Ludwigia. Now, there's no way my words can do this next part justice, so I'm just going to shut up for a bit and you can enjoy what I filmed standing at the edge of this protected zone. When visitors come to Florida Springs, they often encounter blue water over a barren aquascape, because a lot of these habitats have been degraded to just that. And so people tend to accept that most springs are just clear water over a sandy desert, and they can forget that this isn't a spring's natural state at all. But we are at the greatest risk of losing these vibrant aquatic worlds when we forget their true form. Some people get frustrated when they see signs telling them to keep out of certain areas, but man, seeing the clear results of protecting this ecosystem exploding with color and life right in front of my face, I'm so happy to let that ecological restoration run its full course. There's a tricky balance between allowing people to enjoy these aquatic ecosystems while also protecting sensitive areas. I think the spring is doing a pretty good job, to be honest. People need to experience these environments to fall in love with them so that they can then be motivated to protect them. But some areas, it's just good to leave them be. And of course, they can serve to remind us of the actual goal when it comes to protecting these aquatic worlds. Of course, this random snorkeling adventure would be a total bust if I didn't spend some time on the fish citizens. I saw this beautiful spotted sunfish cruising right along some red Ludwigia. I always find the blues and reds of these fish's eyes absolutely stunning. In the shallows, a small group of gambusia or mosquito fish were milling about right below the surface. Down below them were a few bluefin killifish. I think these were females since they didn't have much color to them. And then honestly, it took me a long time to find this guy, but here is the bizarre hog choker. They're a small flatfish species, kind of like a tiny flounder. This guy was just under 6 inches long, and that's about as big as they get. Pretty soon, he'll start making the trek all the way back to brackish water to spawn. It's crazy how far these fish will travel across their lifespan. I also saw a couple spotted suckers hanging out in the spring. They were pretty shy, however, and didn't let me get very close. Oh my gosh, this is a lake chub sucker. Alright, time out. For real, what is with these fish's names? They're either sucking this or choking that, and it's just crazy. Sorry for the crash out. But, I mean, seriously, what are we doing here? Anyways, this is actually the first time I've seen a lake chub sucker in a spring. If you saw my last video, I saw them in a Florida pond at night for the first time, but it's really neat to see a small school of them here in the clear water of a spring. These fish occur pretty widely in the eastern US, ranging from the Great Lakes all the way down into Florida. Watching them swim effortlessly in and out of the red Ludwigia was pretty sweet. But it was time for this snorkeling adventure to come to an end. It's pretty amazing how much life can be found in just a small blue spring. Alright, well, a little bit of a shorter one today, but that was awesome. A small area to explore, but still so much life and such a unique freshwater environment, and so cool to see all that healthy vegetation just beyond the main portion of the head spring. A tricky balance of getting people out there so they can enjoy it, but then also protecting actual wild aquatic ecosystems. Pretty special little spot. So yeah, a little bit of a shorter one today, but coming up next, I've got an awesome adventure for you guys up in Great Smoky Mountains National Park that I think you're gonna love. So until then, thank you guys for watching and coming on yet another random snorkeling adventure. And as always, I will see ya. Probably not good for the wetsuit, but I'll see you next time. Check this out. I found some terrestrial pennywort here, so I can try out my hypothesis. Well, two things. One, I couldn't film this until after I got back from work, so it's dark now. Two, The penny wort I found was kind of shriveled because we haven't gotten rain in a long time, but anyways, we're gonna try this. No way. It's perfect. Look at that.